there. Welcome in. Welcome to the Moth funeral services. How may I help you today? You're thinking it's about that time. You start thinking about these things. Absolutely, absolutely. You know what we say here, it is never too early to plan for your funeral. Now, I couldn't help but notice you are a really beautiful and quite lovely moth. So, are you looking for our moth services, or are you looking for the human services? Moth services, absolutely, absolutely. So, this will be very helpful for me as I can go ahead and get started here. So, first question I'd like to ask you is, I just want to broach the subject, but are you thinking that this is going to be something that will happen in the near future, or something that this is more of a just in case? Because as moths, from what I understand, moths tend to, it's more of a pilgrimage, right? You as a moth, you are drawn to the flame and you go to it, as a sort of ritual, as a gateway to the afterlife. And I'm not judgmental, and I definitely think that perhaps some people have done it a bit too soon, but some people being some moths, but there's no judgment from me. It's absolutely something that's very, very helpful, and very and powerful, really. So I just wanted to ask if that was really what you were, when the timeline wise. Okay. So. Okay, well, it was lovely to have met you anyway. So, here's what I'm thinking. I can get some of your information here, and I'll provide you with some options in regards to what kind of flame you would like to be immortalized in, right? Because as a moth, you understand that a flame is sort of like your casket, right? It's incredibly important and says a lot about the type of moth that you lived by, right? And you've been alive for a few days now, and so you're very worldly and knowledgeable. So, could I get your name signature, please? Yes, yeah. Of course, here at the Moth Funeral Services, we tend to understand that moths don't have typical names. Instead, you have sort of click sounds and, some other nonsense that we don't really understand as humans, but we try our best to understand and respect. So, okay. Oh, that's lovely. That's absolutely lovely. Okay, and it is going to be difficult to, what's the word I'm looking for? Contact you once you've crossed that line, right? Once you've entered the flame, once you've moved on to the other side, once you've died, really. So, do you have any family members, any loved ones, anything of the sort to contact? Because we have a very hefty fee, and we don't really want to be scammed here. Okay. Wonderful. Oh, you have multiple people. That's actually very wonderful. So you will be straddling them with the debt of this service. So I'm just letting you know. Oh, absolutely. You can straddle your debt to sort of an ex or some form of if you have bad blood with anybody, it's very common in Mothkind. Okay. Okay. And I'd like to understand what has made you come to us specifically. Moths tend to find the nearest flame, something that's significant to them, something that perhaps they encountered in their few days of life, and, that is what they are attracted to. So why come to us? You feel like you want something a bit more meaningful with your flame journey. Absolutely, absolutely understand. Okay. Okay. Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and get started in showing you some of these options, right? Okay. So, let me go ahead and get some of these items. Now, do you have any idea what you're really looking for? No. Okay. Wonderful. So, let's go ahead here and show you these three to start with. Now, there's going to be more, but this will just help you get settled and get started here. So, we have this one right here is the first one that we're going to discuss. This is a bonfire, some form of flame on logs. It's either a bonfire at a camp, or a bonfire at a festival, or a bonfire really anywhere, right? And we'll tend, it could be a bonfire within a with indoors even. If you wanted it to be a fireplace, right? Like that could be an option as well. So one of the really good options is this one, because it's very basic, it's very classic. It tends to be what a lot of moths tend to go for, merely because moths, as you know, you're not very bright, you're a bit, you follow trends, let's say. So this is a very, very common and very, very helpful and popular option within moth kind, at least the moths that come to us. But that's not to say that this is absolutely the best option. If you enter, into the afterlife through this bonfire, what ends up happening is that, the flame tends to be a bit weak. It's a bit unreliable, so you might be, screaming in pain for a bit longer than you'd like. So it's really not something that I would recommend. If you can stomach other options, I would definitely recommend that. So that is the first option. Second option here is a torch, right? And I don't mean a torch like a flashlight, no. Right, because I understand that moths tend to use Americanisms. So no, it's not like a flashlight, it's a torch, sort of like a medieval torch, right? So you'll mostly find these in sort of either cosplays or Renaissance fairs, circuses, that sort of thing. So this is a very, very, very good option if you would like the drama, right? So what tends to happen is that these torches are held by very important people, people who have eyes on them. So if you want the drama of flying into one as people are watching and there's a commotion and that sort of thing, it's actually very, very good. So, think of your early minutes of childhood as a moth, and if you were you a theatre kid, because if you were, then this might be a very good option for you. It's very, very popular with theatre kids, theatre moths. Really, it's very, very popular. Then you have over here is a lantern. So this lantern, as you can see, it is sort of surrounded by either glass or sort of beams. So it's kind of difficult to enter. But if you can figure out how to enter, you will probably suffocate before you actually touch the flame. Because it tends to be a bit more enclosed, and so you might, you'll end up being a bit more crispy than you'd like before touching the flame. However, what that does, unlike this bonfire, this gives you a nice even browning all around before you touch the fire, before you enter. So if you're a bit worried about your colouring going into the afterlife, if you're maybe a bit self-conscious, or if perhaps you simply think that you would, like a bit more of a warm hug, before entering the afterlife, and this is definitely a very good option. Places to find these kinds of lanterns are a little bit more difficult. You know, not many people have lanterns, so we do provide some lanterns for you if you'd like. You know, we can bring it to you. You can come here. It's whatever you'd like. If you want it to be very small, a small ceremony of some kind, that's also very normal, very typical. So those are the 3 options so far. Which one are you leaning towards as of now? The bonfire, the torch, or the lantern? Okay, you're not quite sure yet. Okay, well, let's go ahead and show you a few more options, shall we? So over here, just getting this settled. Okay. So here are the 3 next options. The next option is a lamp, a light bulb. So how is this going to work, right? Because a light bulb tends to not to get very hot. It tends not to create the sort of searing that the moth, you know, flying towards a flame might want. But think about where light bulbs exist, right? They exist among humans that don't really know moth kind or don't speak moth language. So what I would suggest, and where this is very, very helpful, is that we can prepare a lamp in a home of some kind that we give you access to, where you are an unwanted guest. So what happens is that you go in there and you make such a ruckus around the lamp that they squish you, the humans that are in there. Sometimes you'll have people who are gentle souls, kind souls, that will, you know, capture you and release you outside. But that's not really something that you would like, right? Because they're really interrupting a religious ceremony that's happening. So, you know, they don't know you, they don't know moth kind. But that is totally okay, because that's a very, very rare circumstance, right? Like, you're not going to encounter many people that are, especially if you're causing much of a ruckus in the house, then it's not really going to be much of a problem. So this is a very, very good option, particularly for people that you know, they don't really want to go by flame, they want to go by light, and that's very, very helpful. Because really, you know, it's the trend nowadays with moths. You know, they're leaving flames by the wayside and they're going towards lights instead, which creates a situation where you're living a lot longer than perhaps you wanted. It's unfortunate, really. But I'm going to skip over this one for now, and I'm going to go over here since it relates to this one. So this one over here is, of course, a cell phone, a smartphone. So death by smartphone is very similar to a lamp in the sense that you are attracted to someone's smartphone, you land on it, they squish you, that sort of thing. But what's very helpful is if you are able to find a suitable smartphone, you can, of course, get addicted to the dopamine hits of, you know, short form videos, apps and games. If you wanted to, you know, try online gambling, that's something that you can do. It's really, you can open your mind to all of the atrocities of the internet before being squished. So it's like opening your third eye as a moth, only to be you know, yanked away into the afterlife. Now, of course, all this information you will retain in the afterlife. So once you're there, it might be a bit difficult to communicate and really go back to normal with other moths in the afterlife. But that tends to be sort of the drawback of going this route, you know. So this is something to keep in mind. You know, if you wanted to just go by light, go with the trend, but not have to deal with potentially scarring yourself emotionally, go with the lamp. But if you wanted to, you know, witness some of the craziness of the internet, if you wanted to, you know, watch sort of moths get it on, perhaps you could even go with the cell phone. You know, it's really, it's fascinating. So Now, of course, this middle one here is a little bit different, right? This is a flame, but it's a magical flame. It's a sort of, so we do here, because we are the Moth funeral services, we you know, we're a little bit magical here. So we do have some witches and some wizards, and they deal a lot in magical flames. So if you wanted to go, you know, go through sort of a magical transformation, if you wanted to be an ingredient in a spell of some kind, this is very, very helpful. Because, you know, some moths tend to, it's akin to donating yourself to science, right? Donating your body to science. It's very, very similar for moths, except it's for spells and curses and that sort of thing. We will, of course, not tell you what kind of spells and curses and stuff that we'll be using you for. It might be for evil, it might be for good, you'll never know. But you'll have to just take that risk, you know. But it's actually very, you know, it could be very helpful, and you do get a stipend. Of course, you'll be dead, but the stipend could go to the, you know, your next of kin, or it can just come right back to us. It's really no big deal. So, how are you feeling now with these 6 options? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How are you liking them? Okay, you want to look at some more? I have some more. So, next, let's go ahead. I have 2 more here, and then 3 more after that. Okay, so let us talk about this here. So, this one right here, let me show you. This one is a bit interesting because this is if you wanted to go, if you wanted to be attracted and sort of have your last life, or the last moments of your life be at the end of, you know, the flames of someone's soul, the passion of someone's soul. Then this is a very, very good option, right? So if someone is very passionate about killing bugs, about capturing and torturing bugs, or if there's someone who just has a lot of ambition, right? If you wanted to find a person, another moth, anybody really that has you know, a lot of ambition, just give them a weapon and let them go to town. That is very, very helpful. In that respect, because it still fulfills the criteria of a moth to a flame, but the flame is ambition. Yes, so this is more of a avant-garde way to go. It's not really particularly beloved in the moth community, but maybe you're a rebel, maybe you're punk, and you want to go your own way. Then of course, in that respect, this is a very, very good option. And then you also have, excuse me, you also have this option here. Excuse me. So this option here is, of course, the sun. Let me show you. There we go. So the sun, you know, you're a moth. You're not going to make it to the sun. But what will likely happen is that you will fly so far up that you will be burnt to a crisp like Icarus. And what will end up happening is that you are dying to the flame of the sun, but you're also dying by your own hubris. So this is actually very, very nice for moths that, you know, they're outcasts. They don't really want to associate with other moths. They don't want to be, you know, they don't want to follow the trends, you know, and they don't want to be setting trends, right? It's actually, and there's a lot of moths go this direction, especially because they find it to be a sort of pilgrimage for them, right? Yes, this whole rite is sort of like a pilgrimage to the afterlife, but going to the sun, it's sort of like, they feel like it's a metaphor. It's not a metaphor, of course, you know, they're a little, you know, airheaded, but they feel it is a metaphor. So it is very helpful. But now, you know, some downsides for that sort of thing is simply, you know, it's going to take a bit of time. You have to be a bit athletic. You know, it's difficult. It's difficult, I would say, but very, very helpful. And in terms of the last ones here, I would like to show you. Here we go. So this one over here is interesting. It is a flame, a cooking flame. So, do you want to go by cooking flame? Now, where would you find a cooking flame? And restaurants, most homes have one, but nothing this intense. You'd have to go to some form of very, very intensive restaurant, very open, big restaurant, right? So I would say this is very helpful and very good if you wanted to boil yourself, if you wanted to go the direction of being a nuisance to the kitchen staff. And what's also very helpful is that this works in multiple levels. If you go to a place and you die by, a kitchen flame, then what ends up happening is that you've also died by the spice, the flame of the food, the spice level. So it can work in multiple ways, and everyone knows that as a moth, the more ways that you can enter a flame upon your death, the more you'll be rewarded in the afterlife. So this is more the religious route. That's why you have a lot of moths within kitchens. You have a lot of moths trying to get in. It's mainly because they want to figure out ways that they can, bang for their buck sort of situation, where they want to both die by a literal flame, and they also want to die by the flame of spice. It's very, very fascinating. And then also over here you have a candle. What's different about a candle versus the torch up here or any of these flames up here is that the candle tends to be very serene. It smells nice, it's very soft, it will hurt, but what ends up happening is that you can go at your own pace, right? Most of these other options are either, gruesome, brutal, or very long, right? This one is you can dip your little toesies into the flames, see how it feels, whether it's too hot, it's too cold, that sort of thing, and then just slowly get yourself in there. Now, of course, your instincts are going to kick in, and you're going to fly in a fury, but at that point you will be a light. You're going to smell very nice though. So what ends up happening is that you'll go into the afterlife, and if you're really looking to get some, then you'll be the talk of the town, because everyone will be smelling you. And if you smell good as a moth, then you're attracting a lot of different kinds of moths that might want to get it on. So it's just a very good option, really. It's both serene, but also a bit. It's like a moth's natural deodorant. And then lastly, over here, this is simply an on button. So this is going to represent any form of electronics that is not a smartphone, sort of like a PC tower, a laptop, anything like that, where you can trap yourself inside of it. What ends up happening is that you'll die from the flames of electrical currents, and what's really nice about it is that you're also taking away and destroying the electronical services of whatever item you've buried yourself into. So I would say that this is more the environmentalist route. If you care a lot about the environment, you want to shut down some electronics, you want to really make a statement in that regard, then this is definitely the way to go. You can also, of course, go to the emerging data centers and bring your friends there and really go to town in some of these electronics in there. So it's really a very good option, very good last stand as a moth. So what are you thinking? These are all options. We'll just go ahead and present them to you. So you have this one, this, and this. You also have this and which one do you think you would like to choose for your flame? Okay, I can do that for you. I think that's a fascinating choice. And this is obviously not my culture, so there is nothing for me to judge or really understand. But if that is what you want, that is what will be done. Okay? Okay. Well, we will send you the information so that we can go ahead and get started with the specifics, but we don't want to take up too much of your time here, mainly because, you don't have too much of it left, so you can go ahead and spend the rest of your day doing whatever you'd like, and we'll contact you and we'll get everything set up for you, okay? Okay then. Well, I hope you have a lovely time until your flame journey. Otherwise, I hope you have I hope you're wonderful. Okay? Okay then. Well, bye-bye.